Hello, and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening.
Hello. You found the right place. If you are looking for some comedians who aren't allowed to work anymore because lockdown's a new thing, and what else we're going to do other than look at the problems in the news, look at the problems that you send to us, and deploy our problem-solving brains, or hit some kind of puns and then just call that a day. Either way, doesn't matter, does it? The point is, we're going to have a crack at it. If you want to get involved in the show, you can message us via whichever message board you're near. If you're watching this on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of those, we should be able to see the comments, and you can tweet us because our little names are on the screen anyway.
Little names.
And you can share the link to the YouTube thing, the subscribey thing. And I'm going to say this early doors because thanks to the current financial situation,
Yep.
if you enjoy it enough to chuck some money in our pots, it would be very much appreciated.
That's right. Yeah, I think I had what was great about November coming up after posts from the last lockdown. I had the dates in there where I've written down what gigs were canceled from the last lockdown that never came back again. Yeah. And then I put new gigs in, and now I've got to go back in and cancel those. So there's two levels of canceled gigs. It
just started again, didn't it? Like the bookings started to come in, and they've been cancelled now. So still no work basically since March. Oh well. So yeah, if you enjoy the show in any way, chuck some money in the thing. But let's get stuck into the fact that we need to be solving some problems, and there's one man who can get down to business, and that's Mr. Eric McElroy. What's problem number one?
Well, I think hopefully you noticed that I said good evening in like a chipper way, because that's not how I feel. That's not how I feel. Because the problem is that, you and I, we did our show on Tuesday, and then we did a live show for 4.5 hours on this very medium. And thank you very much for those people who watched. And that was to cover the American election results. And the problem is, it isn't fucking over yet.
Could you imagine if we'd have promised a broadcast until the result was in?
Oh, God. I'm worn out. America's worn out. The world is worn out. Well, no matter what side, who you wanted to win, you're worn out. I was trying to explain how I've felt over the last 48 hours or whatever it's been. I just couldn't come up with the words. So I thought I would just capture one moment as a blip of what it's been like. And this was just a random moment from some point in the last 2 days. Okay. Let's do this. Come on. Refresh. No change. Okay. Right. Refresh. No change. Refresh. All right. I'm going to take a break and get the kids off to school.
Oh, he's still on it. Oof.
It hasn't changed.
Yep.
Changed. So, yeah, a lot of states counted quickly, like Florida, which almost destroyed our souls because it looked like 2016 was happening all over again. And then through the evening, if you watched me with Steve live hitting the refresh, especially around 4 o'clock when I was almost incoherent, and Steve was like, Eric, pay attention, Eric, we're still talking. I then stayed up until 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and I've really not slept a lot since then. I think some of the states, the crucial states, the swing states, the ones that have got to shift from Biden to Trump to make this all possible, they're still tallying votes, and they're still struggling to get the votes in. And you have to think, like one of the biggest states in the country, Florida, result like that, even though it's caused lots of problems for Democrats in the past, how is it taking this long for the votes to come through? And I think I've got some idea. Let's look at this little tweet that came.
We put this in the calendar for the 5th, and I just really think it's important because Gary doesn't do well when we change plans.
So we know how Gary gets upset. And I know there's a baying fucking mob outside waiting for the results of the biggest election in our lifetime. But I think we need a day.
Okay, admin.
So let me just double check. Let me just hit the old refresh here. Yep. Still no result from Pennsylvania.
Well,
Allegheny County, I hope you're having a nice day off. And that's not just Allegheny. Wisconsin has come in, but it took a while. I wonder why Wisconsin took a while. We saw this was happening in one county, in a very small town, only 300 ballots. They were unaccounted for because Willow Township municipal clerk got sick and no one could find her. I have not been able to get a hold of anybody to help us with the numbers, said the county clerk. Nobody's either home or answering the phone, so I don't know what to do. Even the woman's husband doesn't know what the situation is. It's strange. But he was at work. So they called.
Yeah, I know Marjorie isn't answering the phone. She's not feeling well, but these hogs don't.
I don't know what you do with hogs.
These hogs don't slay themselves.
Slay. Buffy the Hog Slayer.
Yeah. Hogs get roasted. I don't fucking know. So we don't have a result.
Yeah.
Everybody's stressed. Even I actually have empathy at the moment, or at least I have a moment. Even the president the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, is stressed. And of course, we know that he's stressed because he's articulating it on Twitter. Here's what he has to say. Oh, it's been blocked. He's tweeting things. I mean, that's how bad it is for Donald Trump right now. Even Twitter's turned on him. I mean, when someone like that breaks your heart, that's going to be rough. So he's been tweeting outright lies and falsehoods about the results of the election because we always knew these last weeks were going to come in later, and we always knew they were going to be heavily Democratic because Democrats were encouraged to vote by mail. But that's just the way. Holy shit! Hold on, Steve. We've actually got it here. I don't know if you can get this on your screen. We actually have someone. We've got breaking news. Steve, we've got a result in the race right here. Can you put it up? Oh, for fuck's sake. Kanye has conceded the election.
Close. Bless you and your little elections.
I don't feel it anymore.
Look, I think it's perfectly valid. Let's get the message boards up for people getting in touch. I think it is perfectly okay for you to feel this upset because it's been a long flipping election. I said this on Twitter recently for a bunch of people, for a whole generation of people who've now become so used to binge watching things that were meant to be dripped out one a week, we're used to binge watching. This election has tested our ability to wait. This is ridiculous. The gap waiting for the result is so long. Even dumb O'Leary is thinking, come on, don't take the piss. You're milking it now. This is an absolute... And I can't understand how you're right. For places like Florida to get some numbers in, but for other places not to do it, there are only two options as to why it's taking this long. One is that the Republicans have sent people in to stand behind whoever's counting it and just randomly say other numbers, just to put them off so they have to start again. 1, 2... Or the person in charge of doing the counting is that vampire from Sesame Street, because unless it's in Mississippi, because I think you have to say that after every number, and that just slows it all down. So I think that's the only way to explain the mess of an election that your home nation's managed to do.
Yeah, you don't think it's just having an administrative day in the middle of a fucking election? Trend lines are good. We're going to talk more about what the state of the race in a little bit, but it's been infuriating. I don't know how other people are feeling, but I also I'm glad you're not working. My democracy my home country is burning. See that? Yeah. Still got Brexit coming.
Yeah. So, I'm pretty punch drunk to any kind of bad elections these days. Doesn't really matter, does it? All right, some of the messages coming through then. Exquisite Tenderness on Twitter says, oh, girls, you two are looking fabulous. How are you both? Well, I'd say fabulous.
I'm a little tipsy, but otherwise I'm fine.
And he's not slept. He's not slept at all.
Not slept.
Mark says, evening chaps, have you two actually slept since Monday? I have.
Yep. I slept a bit last night and took some naps, but It's been brutal. Exquisite tenderness hasn't worked in decades.
Yeah,
Well, that's a long lockdown. I don't know where you are.
Getting ahead of the game. And Chris says Eric looks a tad worn out. That's devotion to his art. Is that what it is?
Second person to say it. This morning, I did something on Zoom with someone, and I took a shower, did my hair, and the first thing he said to me is, "Oh man, you look fucked." Like, I put my face on for this.
Oh dear. I think we're talking about when we mentioned the fact that we effectively broadcast overnight. Exquisite Tenderness said, "I missed it. I was washing my hair." Must have a lot of hair because we were on for 4 hours and 7 minutes of constant broadcasting about the election. And what good did it do anyone?
We're just waiting for our Emmy to come in.
Yeah. Mark says, this time last year I bought a diary thinking it would be useful. It's made a good doorstop.
That's right. I did get my equity diary as well, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah,
did you keep it?
Thing ever.
I've recycled it. I've called it.
I tried to give it to my daughter, but she's like, I got nothing to do. So,
Exquisite Tenderness says stop the count, which I tweeted earlier on saying I agreed with it because I didn't spot that last O. Mark says what's interesting is the way that Trump supporters, many of whom support all lives matter, don't understand all votes matter. You imagine going around ruining their t-shirts with a red pen, just swapping out that one word.
Yeah. And what else? I know 4 hours of broadcasting produced an IT guru.
That's all that came out of it was I did some IT. Yeah.
There was some good. We brought in guests for the first time, which we're going to start incorporating into the regular show. Something. So we can do that. That's a new thing that we can do. And we also had people who supported us throughout the night, which is something that you could do as well. See how I segued into that? Nice. If you do enjoy what we're doing, if you think, I'd buy them a drink, even though the pubs are closed. This is the best way to do it now because it's the only way that's safe.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's contactless.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've enjoyed the show in any way, chuck some money in our pot, and that will be very much appreciated. Right, more on that still to come. But I got a problem for you. It's the problem of Lockdown 2. It's more about how do we manage to survive Lockdown 2. For those who don't know, in the UK, we had one lockdown, and now we're in Lockdown 2, Lockdownia. I think that's what it's called, before the third one, which will be Lockdown 3, Wuhan Drift. I think that's how they're titling them. I'm not sure. I am not even sure if it really is a lockdown because I was working today, and I couldn't work from home, went into a radio station, and the queues on the M25 were huge. Now, unless people were self-isolating on the fast lane near the QE2 bridge, that told me that not a lot of people were staying in. So I don't think it's going to be like Lockdown 1. And we've been promised that it won't go on forever. Today, Boris Johnson did a speech, and he said, Boris Johnson promises businesses that the new lockdown will end on the 2nd of December. It will end. Hey. Don't worry about it going on too long. It will end on the 2 of December. But it was also the same day when Rishi said that the furlough scheme was extended till March.
Oh, shit.
So the thing that means you need help will definitely end on the 2nd of December. The help is available till March. Doesn't quite make sense, does it? It's a bit like having this conversation. What time are you going to be back from the pub, darling? I'll be back about 9 o'clock. But there is enough food in the fridge for a week. So, bye. Yeah, something doesn't quite make sense there. So look, who knows how long this lockdown's going to drag on for in its various phases, and it's going to be difficult for us financially. As a self-employed person, we had to wait ages to find out what was happening with whether the furlough was going to be helping us out. It's interesting, as self-employed people, having to wait days to find out if we're going to get money is exactly what we're used to. That's just normal life. I remember the good old days of doing a gig, making an invoice, clicking send and thinking, am I going to get this invoice paid or not? Don't tell me now. It'll ruin the surprise. Yeah. So it's like you feel like you've won the lottery. But I have, as a self-employed person, I'm very happy about this. I've received from Rishi, I don't know if you've got these as well, Eric, my gruel vouchers. I can nip down, you can see here, entitles the bearer to one standard size bowl of gruel, non-transferable. And look, every day I can go down there and get myself some gruel and just be bloody happy about it. And then when my voucher book runs out, it just says, more! And that's it. And then we're screwed. So that's the current situation for us. Look, I know I'm moaning about being self-employed. It's actually harder for some employed people. Sainsbury's have announced that they're letting 3,000 jobs go.
What?
Which is shocking, isn't it? Like, if you can't make money when, as a supermarket, you're the only shop that's allowed to open,
Yeah.
what the hell's gone wrong for you? So anyway, they're losing some jobs. They're going to do this by closing down their deli counters and their fish counters. Still not trying to get rid of as many counters as Donald Trump.
Hey.
All counters must go. He's starting to sound like Kitchens Direct.
If you hadn't done that joke, I would have been ashamed of you.
Yeah, of course. Did it on Twitter earlier on. You know a joke's not great when people reply to it with "wahey," "boom," and other such words. But I genuinely have something that could help us get through Lockdown 2. I don't think Lockdown 2 is going to be as miserable, but it's in winter, so we need something that's positive, and this is the positive story. Captain Sir Tom Moore is doing his walking again. Now, if you don't remember him from last time... Oh, give me a page. If you don't remember him from last time, what happened was he did his sponsored walk. He walked around his garden 100 times when he was nearly 100, and it was just what the nation needed. Because it was motivational. I, as someone who's nowhere near 100, was lying down on the sofa moaning about life. But he was out there doing some stuff. And this time, he's got a new scheme. It's where everyone does the walking, and it's #WalkWithTom. And I like the idea of walking with him. I don't like the idea of walking behind him. And I think that's the difference of what we're dealing with. Can't say that. Oh, God, I better drop some of these then. But... I think it's genius. The idea is to raise awareness and money to try and help people who feel lonely during this lockdown. That's brilliant. Like, Sir Tom is just getting it note perfect. He is definitely the winner of best thing to come out of 2020. It's not actually a difficult title to win, really, as long as he was slightly better than Tiger King and Sourdough. He could walk it, and he did. But he's got this new campaign, Walk with Tom. And so if you do any sponsored walking or any kind of walking, you talk about it on social media. And what I like about this is that it's better than people who run, because when they're on social media, god damn, they're fucking annoying. My Instagram is filled with people, red-faced, sweaty buggers, going like just on a 5K, and they tell you how quickly they did a 5K. And don't get me wrong, I run, but I don't tweet or post any of my stats because I run so slowly. Like, if I even measured the speed at which I was travelling, my phone would think it had been dropped and try and report itself as lost. I'm not a healthy person, so I'd never boast about these things. What I do like is when runners show you the little map that they've just done. Have you seen those? I like that because that way I know where they run and I know where to avoid.
Yeah, I know.
So that is giving a good service. But anyway, he's doing his walking and brilliant. If you're going to try and do a walk thing like Sir Tom, the only difference is he did it in the spring, and this is a very different time. So, hey, not all heroes wear capes, but they should wear coats, scarves, and maybe a mask as well. But there we go. Sir Tom, giving us some good vibes. He actually is solving the problem for us.
Bless him. Yeah. I think, although, I mean, shows he's getting a little lazy if he wants us to do the walking this time.
He's 100, and he's a sir now. Why should he have to walk?
I guess, seeing the furlough scheme and the self-employment schemes extended, it's, you just know that it is going to be a while. And I think Netflix is in on this as well, because I don't know if you saw this, that Netflix has started releasing the Police Academy movies. Really? And there's like 100 of them. So it's going to be a long lockdown.
I'm amazed Netflix didn't put its prices up, because if ever there was a time to cash in on this.
We're screwed.
Some messages then.
Right.
Anthony says, Lockdown 2, nothing new. Yeah. Mark, Lockdown 2, the COVID strikes back.
Nice. And Chris is noticing that it's the 2nd of December that we're coming out of lockdown, but that Boris Johnson didn't say which year.
That's how they get you. They get you. What we got? So other messages coming through. Didn't Bananarama sing about that? Sorry, that was a cruel summer. Okay, cold winter. And since lockdown started, I've walked a half marathon each week, not all in one go. Eh? Well, so you've since the start of lockdown, you've walked 13 miles. That's back and from the fridge quite a lot. So well done. I'll give you credit where it's due.
At the peak of lockdown, because the Google Map thing shows you where you've been, and it's like over a week, and you could say where you've not gone anywhere. Yeah. I thought about posting that, but then I realized I basically would be posting where my house is. It's like,
Just the dot.
I'm not going to do that. So
Utah says, I'm walking backwards for Christmas across the Irish Sea. You're quoting some songs, but not necessarily in the right order. Heather says, we feel your pain, Eric.
Thank you, Heather. It's been painful.
It didn't really affect me
Thanks.
that much.
Good. I'm glad that you have empathy. Know each other a while. Right. Are these some other comments? There we go. Yeah. Cool. And I can see a drink has come through. So thank you very much for that. I can't see who it is, but appreciate any drinks that are coming in. And let me just hit refresh over here. Oh, Christ. Okay.
Still no result. Still no official leader. Oh well.
Nope. I'm gonna have a sip of this one. There's still gin in this as well.
Honestly, the delay in the way you run elections, it's such a long wait. Even the Proud Boys are getting tired of standing by. The same.
Or as they were called by Joe Biden, the poor boys in one of the debates.
So on to it. So now we've done all the text, the admin. Let's get back down to solving another problem. What we got? Yeah.
Well, I thought I would do the problem of the electoral college and me saying it in a run up to this hydroxychloroquine. So I thought we'd give a little update since we spent so much time watching the thing. We do have, because it hasn't changed since I sent you this image, Steve. So we're at the same score, just to chat through where we're at. So this is the current state of the affair as of Thursday night. It's just a little bit past 9 o'clock in the UK. And essentially, for those people who haven't been staring at this as extensively as I have, you can see how close Joe Biden is to the number that we need, which is 270. So each state gets a certain number of electoral votes, and it doesn't matter how many people vote. So California, he wins it by millions, but he only gets the 55 electoral votes. Essentially, Nevada has not yet been called, but there's like 20,000 votes, I think. Maybe. Wait, I've got the actual numbers here. 15,000 votes Biden's ahead by, and has been for 24 hours, but they haven't called the state for him because if they do, that's it. It's game over. 270, and of course, the ratings on the cable news networks will collapse, and no one will watch TV again because Donald Trump won't be president. So they realize this is all they've got to cash in as much advertising revenue as they can.
Yeah.
The other states left to be called are North Carolina, which will probably be a few days because they're waiting for absentee ballots to come through, and Georgia, which has not been won by a Democrat since I think Bill Clinton. And if that went to Biden, that would be very difficult for Trump to carry through with all the fraudulent stuff that he's been saying. So, and it's really close. And the final votes that are coming through are all from the sort of very pro-Biden African-American neighborhoods in Georgia. And it literally is 12,000 votes now that are separating them. And because Trump's been ahead, but this is why he's getting so pissed off, because he scared so many people to not voting, and he's done such a bad job with COVID management. A lot of the Democrats voted by mail. They count those votes last. So that's why it's so heavy on the returns for Biden.
Yeah, I remember I was hearing on the news earlier today that there are some states where they have a rule that they can't start counting the postal votes until the voting day has ended.
Yeah, that's right.
So, of course, the results are going to come in later.
Yeah.
I mean, but we talked about this on the live show, and if you want to sit there and rewatch 4 hours worth of talking about it, there was a bit where we did say, as soon as you get to the stage in life where you no longer see hypocrisy as a problem, of course that makes sense. Of course it makes sense to say we need to do recounts and continue counting in the ones where Trump could win, but also stop the count in the ones where Biden's overtaking.
Yeah.
If you don't have a problem with hypocrisy, then of course it makes sense to say that.
Yeah, he's actually got protesters in Pennsylvania and Georgia where he's falling behind. Trump is ahead in both states, but all the late votes are heavy pro-Biden. So that's why it's likely, especially in Pennsylvania, that Biden will catch him. He's got protesters there, and they're suing to stop the vote. And there's people outside the voting places going, "Stop the vote! Stop the vote!" But in Arizona, where he's behind, and there are late ballots that could favor him, he's actually got people storming the ballot box or the ballot facility saying, "Count the votes." So he's got his protesters, which is just peak Trump.
Yeah.
You can't get any more Trumpian than having your protesters protest exact opposite things at the same time.
Yep. It's amazing.
It's not even, is it a metaphor? Is it an analogy?
Oh, it's past metaphors. I don't think there are metaphors these days. I think what ordinarily would be a story about a fictional leader in olden days being brought down by hubris, that kind of allegory, that story is no longer relevant. It's just, you have to rewrite everything. It's just, and then the bad guy got away with it.
Yeah, because the emperor has no clothes, but now we all know he's naked, and everybody's like, "Yep, we like looking at his little mushroom dick."
Yep. Ooh.
We're happy with that.
Ooh, on
But
that,
we
I'm
can
gonna
take
put the-
questions on this while we're here. Chris Curlin has asked about what happened in NE5,
Yeah.
which I'm so geeky. I know that he means Nebraska's 5th district.
No, he
because
doesn't. He means Northeast 5 postcode from London. That's what it is.
basically there's two states, Maine that have little stripies there, and Nebraska that have little stripies there where they're blue and red, and they allocate their electoral votes proportionally based on congressional districts. So they split it, and I think they give like 2 or 3 to the whole state. So whoever wins the state, like California, you win the electoral votes, but then they also do it on a district level. And so that's why it gets split. So most of Nebraska is quite conservative, and so it goes for Trump. But then the city of Omaha, where people who know how to read are, that gave 1 vote to Biden. And I think that, yeah, and then the same thing happened in Maine, but the other way. Most of the state went for Maine, but 1 vote from the people who I think live near Canada or something went for Trump.
Right. NE5,
People
I think,
just-
might be Tottenham. It's one of those areas. Can I ask a question about this map?
Yes,
Why is Biden blue?
and Trump red.
Well, no,
there is-
yeah. Because why? Well, in that case, I'll do more of us. Why is Biden blue? Why have they made Trump red? And why have they done the most racist thing ever and made Kanye that brown color in the middle? That seems like, honestly, your country.
I know. Why did he quit? He was doing so well.
He got 60. Look at that.
Yeah. I was going to seriously answer the question. I know
always-
why that blue and
always.
red. Doesn't matter. You answer things with facts. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
It's because when it started to go to television, one channel just decided when they started doing those fancy maps to do the Democrats as blue and the Republicans as red, and it stuck. And then it's evolved now where there's blue states and red states.
Nice.
So, I mean, I enjoyed your joke. I'm sorry I stepped
you.
on it there. I thought you were asking a real question because you wanted to take into my font of knowledge about. I knew what NE5 was, and I can't talk about sport. This is the only thing that I have in interest of my life. I haven't seen my wife in a few days. That is real vodka in the bottle. I'm exhausted.
What kind
Would
of a
take
nation builds its tradition from stuff that happened on TV? I love how you think you have history, but if core foundations of your nation were because, well, in the early days of TV, I'm sorry, what?
Isn't that why you guys wear those funny little hats in court here?
Back in the prehistoric days of black and white, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, God. I'm glad John has asked a question about my Olympia beer sign and not, again, ignoring my knowledge about the Electoral College. You've got an expert here, guys. John's asked, is the Olympia beer sign in danger of short-circuiting? Well, basically, it is. The sign was made in 1950. Until I've lost it now. My grandfather made that sign, and it was wired for the U.S. in the 1950s. And so if I plugged it in here, it would explode. So there's just a torch in there. But because the light's been on since we did the live show 2 days ago,
You've not turned it off. Okay.
I forgot to turn it off, and it's fallen apart. Oh, look at that, Steve. And you've been heckled with facts. Mark Randall's pointed out that NE5 isn't even in London. It's Newcastle. You don't know your postcodes.
It's west, northwest, Newcastle, Denton, Bankfoot, and Walbottle. Yep, how did I not know that one? Daniel, dear love is watching as well. Says, miss you guys. We miss you too. Also says Santa is red and white because of Coca-Cola. Yes, and also that's why he's fat.
That's right. And Adam Sandler's pointed out the first year that blue and red was cemented was 2000 due to the craziness of that election. It was no specific color before that. See?
That, your nation is so new that back in the come and sit in my lap. I'll tell you about the olden days. Turns out in the year 2000, see, we had to kind of come up with some colors. That's my impression of what old versions of Americans sound like.
Greatest country in the world, guys. Greatest
Newest.
democracy on earth.
Newest. Do your history lessons last about, like half an hour and that's it?
I've got my childhood history book here.
Yeah, is it a pamphlet?
No, look at that. Look at that. Huge.
Yeah, only because I bet you there's a lot of pictures and the font's not tiny. Come on, open it up. Yep, laying money on it. Dear. And yeah, the history of America, and most of the middle of that book is just about P.T. Barnum. So that's all you've got going on.
He was crucial to our culture.
He had a lot of Roman terracotta.
He's the one that came up with the blue and red.
Yep. And then on Twitch, Wolf99 says, "Damn, I'm no doctor, but Biden looking and sounding a little rough in that last press conference." I did think, look, this is the problem. We need to be serious now. That the results are taking so long from this election. The results are so late. If they don't hurry up, so will Joe Biden be. So
we can make jokes about that once he's president, but I don't want to say anything.
Don't want to jinx it.
Until that happens.
If he dies now, do they have to redo the election, or is it straight into the VP?
I think it's very much a Weekend at Bernie's scenario. So
that's why they had him wearing the glasses when he was still alive. That way you couldn't tell.
Well, if you listen to Trump, Biden's been dead for years, and Kamala Harris is just the puppet master like Geppetto. So
if you follow the money, you'll find it goes all the way back to the Jim Henson workshop. That's how they do it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. That's how they do it. But let's see.
John points out, Steve, your background is still red. Surely not. I can fix that for you. If you want to go political, we have the announcement. There we go. There's no brown color on this, so I can't do the.
Well, you're changing. I'm going to refresh like I have been, and nothing's changed. Wow, this is all right. We've got a long one from Mark here. This is the USA. This is from USA Today. In 1976, NBC used the first on-air election map. We're getting into the depths of what really matters in this election here. And the bulbs turned red to designate states won by Democratic nominee Jimmy Carter. He used it, yeah. So that was the opposite color, and blue for Republicans. As The Verge points out, the color scheme was based on Great Britain's political system, where the Liberal Party was associated with the color blue.
Yes, a nation with real history. Come with me on a journey through time.
But you guys, you don't get the suspense like this. I mean, this is literally made for television.
Yeah. Yeah, it was only recently that we started having debates before an election, and then Boris starts pulling out of them. So, yeah, we just don't do it. But it's not meant to be a TV show. It's meant to be democracy. There is a difference, but... Yeah.
I was always surprised that Boris did that, because he doesn't normally pull out.
Hey!
Joke! I got one joke in this show. I've been stressed. All right, Steve.
So
stop talking about it. I'll just keep refreshing while you do your next bit. No, I won't.
You can tweet us. You can subscribe to the YouTube and share the link so that people can still watch it. And if you're enjoying the show and you'd like to keep us away from being totally poor and having to cash in yet another one of my gruel vouchers from Rishi, then go for it.
We have had a few drinks come in for that, and we did have someone who pre-purchased tickets on the Crack Comedy website. So thank you very much for that person as well, pre-booking. Thank you. Oh, and I wanted to say, with the gruel voucher, Steve, I can tell that you have been back in the studio, because you were using the studio's or the station's printer, weren't you?
How very dare you! I did think of doing that, but no, I've used my own. I got a laser jet. I thought I'd use my own.
You got a printer?
I got my.
You splurge on a printer.
Well, if you do, it would never work again. No, I've stopped using inkjets, because what used to happen is you'd drop like $100,000 on ink, and then you'd use it once, and then it'd dry up. So now I've got a laser jet. Sweet laser jet. Only black and white, because I'm northern. But
you bought that before the lockdown.
Oh yeah, bought it years ago. So right into. I can't believe I've still got another problem to fix. We've not even thought about this one yet. How do you solve the problem of not having enough money thanks to everything? It's a big question. And this, thankfully, has been fixed by Prince Charles, who's told us that we should end the trend for throwaway clothing. And there's nothing I like more than when we have a member of the royal family telling us how to spend money, because it makes sense. They're better than us. I think that's how our system's based, and they should tell us poor people what to do with our money. So the Prince of Wales, which actually, interesting title. Do you think he's still allowed to go in and out of Wales? He might be the only one who is. Stands at the border. Don't you know who I am? He said that we're just buying things, we're throwing them away, and we shouldn't do. He's got clothes that he has repaired, and it's to do with mending and make do. So he's frugal, and it makes a lot of sense. It is strange that someone in the royal family mends and reuses clothing, whereas the rest of us just buy some stuff and keep throwing it away and buy some new stuff. Why should we look like we're more profligate than a member of the royal family? So I'll tell you what, let's try and find out more. We're actually joined on the phone by Prince Charles. Hello.
Yes, hello, Steve.
So tell us about your new campaign.
Yes, I want people to think twice before they replace something that could be repaired. From my own life, just recently, there was something that I wanted to wear that was damaged. I could have bought a new one, but I didn't.
Okay, sounds pretty good. What was it?
A crown. One of the gems had fallen out. Instead of ordering another, I sent it to the jewelers or the ironmongers or wherever.
It's not really that much of a relatable story, if I'm brutally honest. We tend to not all have broken crowns hanging around.
Really? I once reused a broken scepter as a paperweight. Can you relate to that?
Again, no, it tends to not really... We don't really have scepters.
Well, I had a coat. Your sort wear coats, yes?
Yes, we wear coats. We're not Geordies.
Yes, well, I had a coat, and the button had fallen off, and I got someone to sew a button back on instead of replacing it, which was much cheaper than the £5,000 for a new one.
No, again, you're not really understanding our lives are different. For you, you repair things because they're so good and they're so expensive. For the rest of us, we go and buy some absolute tat from Primark because it's the only blip in an otherwise miserable life. It's that one retail therapy moment of feeling something. Yeah, we don't really need to go and buy it, but it's the only way to get some joy in this life is to waste some money buying a gold tie that doesn't go with anything. But at least for that one brief moment, we actually feel.
Oh, well, I can relate to that.
No, you can't. The closest we'll come to understanding each other is that we take your point. What you're really saying is if you've got something that works, why bother replacing it with something new?
I only mean for clothes, yes. If you think that about everything else, I'll never get the job of Ruddy King, yes.
Do you know what? Thank you very much for joining us, Prince Charles. Who would have thought we'd get Prince Charles on the phone for this show?
Look at that. Well done.
Big guests.
I mean, he's got time on his hands. Nothing to do. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. Yeah. Just like for the election results. Do you think he's got like secret webcams on his mother and he just sits there
any day now,
still breathing?
I think he hangs around the palace shouting boo. Just waiting for it to come around corners. Chris says, I can just see Camilla darning Charlie's socks after washing them at the riverside on a stone. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, he's right in what he says, that we shouldn't be so wasteful, but you don't want to hear it from a royal. And I think what's really interesting is that this is the same kind of eco-friendly information that we'd get from Meghan. And a lot of people would say, oh, how dare she? Oh, she's given us this preaching about the planet. And when Charlie does it, some people won't complain. And it's very easy to say, if you don't like the same message from Meghan, but you don't mind it from Prince Charles, you're racist. And that's not true. You might simply be sexist. It's difficult to know which way your bigotry goes, and I'm no one to tell you. So it's up to you what kind of a big old bigot you are.
You've got so many things to choose from.
So many options.
So many options. Yeah. So, I like throwing stuff away. But my wife, because her parents were different, were slightly different generationally, and that her parents were, Depression era parents. My mother's younger. My mom's a baby boomer. So we just throw shit away left and right. But my wife's got the concept of that sort of dust bowl philosophy.
Yeah. Does she want these? Because I'm probably not going to use them. She can have a gruel voucher from Rishi if she wants.
Yeah, that's why we spend a lot of time in a dust bowl. She just feels at home there.
Beautiful. Yeah. If anyone wants more,
he'd sell them and make some money.
So we give them away. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Put on a T-shirt. That's how we make money. We should be selling T-shirts with this written on it.
It was a good costume choice because that tie does not match.
Do you know what? I deliberately put this on. I went through my ties working out which one could I reference in the rant to Prince Charles, and I picked this one out specifically.
Does not go with that shirt at all. I wasn't going to say anything, It
kind of goes with white shirts that I've got, but it was a good pick for today. So I think we're about all sorted and up to date.
We are back to show you how the election is not yet resolved next Tuesday. Which...
Still, because some of the messages just coming through on Twitter. Stephen Leatherdale says we get all our history information from the pamphlet Americana. Let's have a look there. Lockdown 2, Kung Fu Pandemic.
Good nice. Title. Very good. So we got you got any gigs this weekend, Steve?
Nope. Taken out.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, so you can, if you did enjoy the show, please send us a drink. We do appreciate that. The link is there. Also, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, or you can also tell people about the show. You can share it on Facebook. You can watch back the shows on YouTube as well. They're all there. So feel free to do that if you'd like to, and tell people about it. We appreciate that. We do turn this into a podcast, or when I say we,
IT
Steve
support
turns this
over
into a
here.
podcast.
Yeah.
Turns it into a podcast and puts it out there. So feel free to subscribe to that. And you do your daily. Where are your daily things with Steve? You do a daily sort of.
At Home with Steve. Those sketches
Yeah.
go out on BBC Kent every day in the evening. I've not really been getting around to putting those out on the internet, but they get broadcast. So yeah, you can hear them on BBC Radio Kent on the drive time show, The Late Drive with Dominic King. All next week. I think Monday to Thursday I'm broadcasting Drive Time on Time FM as well, if you want to hear me dicking around playing songs. Got a few more messages to go before we really have to be out of here. Stephen
We're gonna
Leatherdale
get kicked out of our house.
Stephen Leatherdale says, as the rapid test program has missed so many cases, should the name of the project be changed to Operation Crescent Moonshot? Once in a blue moon shot. That's another one. That would be it. Jack says, you could have mashed your unwanted equity diaries, I love mine, into gruel. Yes, I really could have made the gruel go further by adding some more of that tasty equity diary in there. Some more. Can you see some of the messages coming through there?
I can see, well, John has reminded and prompted me to mention my own podcast, which is very nice of you, John. Yes, if you want to hear me talk more about the American election, but interview people in America who are actually there, please check out my new podcast called American Exchange. Doing another episode. The new episode tomorrow is going to be with Andrew Feinberg, who's a White House correspondent. And so I'm going to be getting the update from him about what it's been like for the election. But I've talked to Mary Trump and some other people. So check that out. And yeah, because we won't be gigging. So
Yeah, no gigs. Anthony says, Lockdown 2, Lou rolled.
yeah.
And I like that. And Chris, this is actually, maybe this should be, we might think this is the joke. Chris says, Lockdown 2, the second Cummins. That's good.
Well done, Chris.
Yeah.
Well
that's
done.
good.
There we go.
We'll nick that for next week. On Tuesday's show, we need to have a debate about whether we're going back to being called Comics in Quarantine.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think we'll have to decide that. I mean, it's only going to be for the month, right?
Yep.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So if you'd like to fund Eric's alcoholism, please chuck some money in the Ko-fi pot.
Problem is
Anything you
this
can
time
is appreciated.
I didn't buy any toilet paper.
If you've got to pick between vodka and toilet paper you can use, but you won't be drunk. Vodka you can drink so much, you don't care if you've got toilet paper on.
If I need toilet paper,
just rip out all of the Cosby Show pages, because you probably hide that bit of your history now, don't you?
he's probably in there somewhere. Yeah. So there we go. Yes. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. Pray for the people counting votes in the States and the rest of us. And we'll be back Tuesday.
Yeah. Till then, sleep well.